Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a good one for you. SEC is dropping major breadcrumbs. You're going to want each one of them. It could potentially affect XRP and the XRP Ledger. Believe that or not, it's still true. Bitcoin ETF, but there's contention among the rank and file. We'll cover that. IPOs swirling all around now. We got Robinhood back in the news, and Coinbase may potentially issue tokenized stocks for their IPO. It just keeps getting better. And we're going to hear some words of wisdom from a lawyer, Jeremy Hogan, and a retired judge. You're going to want every single bit of it. Let's go ahead and roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradley above at the top of the screen, and everything that we're talking about here. We're ringing in today right around 44 cents, 0.4489. We're ranging between 41.99 and 45.60. That's where we're at this morning on XRP's price, courtesy of the dereliction duty of the SEC. Let's get right into this. Let's keep it as tight as possible. XRP Crypto Wolf tells us the world's first Bitcoin ETF now holds 10,000 Bitcoin. The Purpose Bitcoin ETF launched last week and is off to a successful start with over $624 million under management already. How about that for the first week out of the gate? Not bad for business. However, listen, I want to be full disclosure here. The hurdles in front of Bitcoin is that the governments see it as a real national issue, generally speaking, around the world. They see it as a huge problem. Then there's the proof of work and the fact that it leaves a terrible carbon footprint on the planet, right? The consumption is absolutely terrible. And then there's a long settlement time, and then there's the volatility of the asset. I know you're thinking right now, geez, Brad, you're like the good news bear. Somebody get him some honey. But I'm very much into looking at all of the things that I intend to invest in or consider investing in and look at the pros and cons. Ethereum. Let's look at the hurdles there real quick, just to be fair and balanced, as they say. If we're going to do that, then we'll look at Ethereum. Proof of work, moving to proof of stake. Well, the problem there is they got high gas fees and high congestion on the network. They moved to proof of stake, we could see the same issue because the more Ethereum tokens you lock up for proof of stake, the more scarcity you create for the token itself. And in turn, one would think that we'll see even more high gas fees for that network. That's a hurdle in front of Ethereum. And let's look at XRP. Well, we want to look at everything. Right? XRP has real hurdle in front of it because if you haven't heard, they're being sued by the SEC as an unregistered security. We're going to get into more of that in just a second. But there it is. So now looking at this coming back to Bitcoin, right? Dubai Fund sells $750 million of Bitcoin to buy Cardano and Polkadot. The Dubai-based fund says Bitcoin is pretty useless. Damn. And altcoins like Cardano are a better bet for new investors. Well, here's one more question, because I think Cardano's got a lot of promise, and none of this that we're talking about is financial advice, by the way. It's just my perspectives on the space. And I think Cardano's got great potential, but I would say that the recent price fluctuation, you could make a great argument that because people have been looking to hedge because XRP's trouble and the hurdle in front of it with the lawsuit, that a lot of the surge in ADA right now could be from a lot of XRP investors and others moving into that as a hedge, if you will. Doesn't mean it's a bad investment. And I've met Charles Hoskins, and I think he's a brilliant man, and I think he's working on a really excellent project. Again, not financial advice, but things to know. All right, MasterCard Vice Chair says Bitcoin's too volatile for payments. This is the MasterCard Vice Chair. She said Bitcoin doesn't behave like a payment instrument. It's too volatile, and it takes too long to transact. Okay? Are we getting that? Everybody getting that? Don't say you haven't had somebody tell you now. Now, here's another one. You might want to listen to this one. This is from a Hall of Famer, XRP Carolina, and I Am Legion. And this is the BIS. I covered this a few days ago. The BIS, the head of central banks, the central bank of central banks says Augustin Carson cast doubt on Bitcoin's long-term viability Wednesday, saying it is only a matter of time before a 51% attack brings down the world's original cryptocurrency. Well, like I said, we look at both sides here, right? Well, let's move on now to the IPO news. Robinhood to plan confidential IPO filing as soon as March. Robinhood's IPO will be the biggest short in history. You can't help but laugh. If any of you have been in this space, you know recently there was the whole issue with Robinhood shutting down its customers on its platform from being able to participate in the GameStop debacle that was going on just several weeks ago, or a handful of weeks ago. And that's a nice little joke there if you get it. So look, let's understand this, okay? Because, Robinhood probably is going to, announce in March. We know Coinbase has just announced. We're going to talk about that in just 1 second. But this is enormous. I mean, the public awareness is about to come from all of these companies behind the tech launching into the public traded offering. I'm going to tell you something. This is not a small matter. This is going to bring more and more and more money into this space. I'm telling you, this is interesting. And I do want to remind people, I talk about Linqto all the time, and a lot of people say, yeah, but you got to be an accredited investor. Well, here's a little tip for you. I don't think it'll be too long from now. Most of the people that are hearing this, if you have a position in this space and you've thought about what you're holding and what you're holding has utility, I believe you may become an accredited investor sooner than you think. And that's why you should watch this market and you should join and get this app. Because let me just run through this for you for a second. Okay, first of all, I saw Marquetta's back this morning, and none of this lasts long. 48 hours, this will be gone, right? And watch for Kraken. It'll do the same thing once it replenishes. But I'm going to tell you, this is what's amazing to me. Robinhood was on this platform before it came off because it's headed for an IPO. Coinbase was on this platform before it came off and headed for an IPO. Ripple's been on this platform from time to time, and you better watch them because they already told us, Brad Garlinghouse told us, they do intend to IPO sometime soon. So we'll be keeping a lookout for that. And I'm going to tell you, that is amazing that this company right here has been able to grab those quality of listings to be able to offer them to you before they actually go public. Get the app, join the community, and they have a lot of programs and offerings, lunch and learns, additional stuff you can study for the Series 65 exam if you're not accredited, so you can actually take a test and become accredited. Keep it in mind. They have all kinds of tools and things for you to learn and understand what's going on. Let's keep it moving. Coinbase hints at potential token issuance. Oh, do tell. Coinbase said it may raise additional capital to support business growth. The firm could issue new shares or stock that is in the form of a blockchain token that could be tied to customer reward or loyalty programs. Are you hearing this? This is phenomenal what it's going to do. Imagine right now what the awareness would be publicly when people start hearing that this company that's certainly over $400 a share when they announced they filed the S1 and well over $100 billion valuation, I think it was. Isn't that what it was? $100 billion valuation for the company? Remarkable the kind of attention that tokenized offerings from a company could bring to the public. Really, really exciting stuff. So, all right, there was a part on here I just wanted to go through real quick. If we issued additional equity securities, including in the form of blockchain tokens, stockholders will experience dilution, and the new equity securities could have rights senior to those of our currently authorized and issued common stock, the firm said in the filing. But listen, in another section, the firm said it could authorize the issuance of blank check preferred stock and common stock that our board of directors could use to implement a stockholder rights plan or issue other shares of preferred stock or common stock, including blockchain tokens. To be sure, the mention of blockchain token and the risk disclosure section does not mean that Coinbase has concrete plans for such a launch. Still, its inclusion suggests that some degree of consideration has taken place. It also signifies Coinbase's interest in the area and that other exchanges such as FTX and Binance have pursued by launching their own tokens as well. Exchange tokens typically provide traders with discounts on trading fees and are tied to the success of the platform. Their status as securities has been debated. Well, now one more little key point here. It's also worth noting that Coinbase acquired a broker-dealer. Stay with me here. Coinbase noted that they acquired a broker-dealer, Keystone Capital, which could give the firm a regulatory framework for an in-house token. They already see a security designation on the horizon for such a thing, don't they? Isn't that why they got a broker-dealer? Come on in. Well, let's talk about that, because here come the breadcrumbs from the SEC. Check out today's SEC Division of Examinations Risk Alert, which provides information to investment advisors, broker-dealers, and transfer agents regarding digital asset securities to assist firms in developing and enhancing their compliance practices. You don't say. Thank you to Michelle Bond. I just want to read this section out of here so you get what they're talking about. National securities exchanges. Advances in distributed ledger technology have introduced innovative methods for facilitating electronic trading in digital asset securities. A platform that operates as an exchange, as defined under the section of the Securities Exchange Rule 3B16. The staff will examine platforms that facilitate trading in digital asset securities and review whether they meet the definition of an exchange. Oh, yeah. It goes on through here. You should read this. It's on my Twitter, but you should read this. It has other things here where it talks about broker-dealers. Where was that at? I think right here. Broker-dealers may be involved in underwriting and private placement activity with respect to digital asset securities, which can raise unique disclosure and due diligence obligations. Examinations will include a review of the due diligence performed by the broker-dealers and disclosures made by broker-dealers to customers related to the offering of digital asset securities. You know that word, digital asset securities? Do you hear how they're running that up the flagpole? Stay with me. SEC says crypto brokers may be skirting AML exchange registration. How dare they? The SEC also said some firms dealing in cryptocurrency may need to register as exchanges. Well, I tell you what, I agree with Young Ruler 22 right here. That's a follow coming from me, buddy. This is Gensler talking, being unconfirmed. He's already pulling the strings. This does sound like we got some leadership dropping here, and it doesn't feel like it's coming from the acting chair. No disrespect to her. But look at this. This is what I wanted to share with you right here, and I'm going to ask you a question. Moreover, in the section titled National Security Exchanges, which I just got done reading part of that in the other post, the letter implies that some firms may effectively be operating as securities exchanges without being registered with the SEC. Advances in distributed ledger technology have introduced innovative methods for facilitating electronic trading in digital asset securities, it wrote, likely referring to a whole range of decentralized exchanges and platforms where people can swap assets beyond centralized exchanges such as Coinbase and Kraken. What is the XRP ledger? Anyone? It's a decentralized exchange. Uh-oh. Looks a lot like to me we better start leaning in on that whole idea Brad talks about XRP may be a security. You know, it may not be also. Who knows what goes on? And we're about to talk about how they get to a resolution in just a second too. But the reality is, I have said on this channel And beautiful part about this is you can go back in the video playlist and pull up XRP as a security, and you'll get a range of videos we've done where we've considered the possibility of that outcome. And we have made it very clear that if it was a security, we don't see it as a security that it entitles you to a share or equity in Ripple. Oh no. That's why they created the XRP Ledger Nonprofit Foundation, because I believe it would entitle you to be a holder of the XRP token, which is the native asset to the decentralized exchange, the XRP Ledger, for which here the language really leans into the notion that decentralized exchanges are really securities. We don't know, but I tell you this, it's sounding a lot like it. Now, the ramifications from the case have done real damage to consumer investors right on up to MoneyGram. MoneyGram has had to stop working with Ripple and the ODL and the settlement and use of XRP. I want to remind people right now that not only did the lawyer in the pretrial hearing bring up the fact that Coinbase, or an exchange in 2019, which was more than likely Coinbase, had asked the SEC specifically if they could list XRP if it was a security. They never stopped them. They never said no. They allowed them to go ahead and list the asset. Problem one. Huge problem. Makes the case one hell of a mess to go along with the fact that they waited 7 years to even intervene. Then you think about the MoneyGram deal. Well, guess what? Ripple and MoneyGram had to file with the SEC to do that partnership, and they understood when they filed with MoneyGram that that's exactly what MoneyGram was going to do. They were going to use ODL and settle with XRP. That's exactly what the plan was. Oh, yeah. But no, they've had to stop because of this lawsuit. The fallout goes beyond the retail investor, and this is being felt in the business side. And who knows, the effect in price that we're having now started to really fall off after MoneyGram announced that we were stopping using ODL and Ripple. Now the contract that they have is still well intact, and MoneyGram would love to get back right away as soon as they get clarity on the case with Ripple and XRP. Here is a clip of what I believe, and we have said this before on this channel, and I really believe that you're about to hear Jeremy Hogan and his father tell you exactly how we're going to get to a settlement. You know, when I was a kid, and I have 3 older siblings, I have 2 older brothers and an older sister, and my brothers and I used to fight, especially my second oldest brother. Boy, we used to get down, all kinds of, you wouldn't believe it. We fight over anything. Right? Just where you're standing, where I'm sitting. You know how it is when you have siblings. But my father ruled with a very strict hand. He wasn't abusive, but he ruled with a strict hand, and he did not play, as they say. And when we would have a squabble, he would come to us and he would tell us, I tell you what, I ain't got time to sort it all out right now, but I'm going to give you a few minutes for you two to figure out what's going on. And if you don't, I'm going to come back here. And if I can't see a solution, I'm going to find one for you. And neither one of you are going to like it. And lo and behold, he come back 5 minutes later, and me and my brother were just as happy as a lark. Yeah, we were just sitting around trying to figure out how we could solve feeding the poor and the hungry. You know what I mean? Like there was no more argument because we knew what that meant from my father. He was coming in and delivering the heat. Well, I don't think things in life are much different, even if you're wearing a suit and tie and standing in a courtroom. Listen to what Jeremy and his father say right here. And again, I appreciate them so much and their perspective and their willingness to share their perspectives and insights on what's happening in this space. Listen to this.
Being judges are people. I mean, they are lawyer people, which is a different type of people, but still people. And you also have to keep in mind, outside of that, the breadth of knowledge that a judge has to have. My practice is fairly broad. I practice in many different areas of law. Most attorneys, however, practice in very narrow areas of law. Most security lawyers, that's all they do, securities law, because there's just so much to know. But judges, for the most part, are different. The judge on the Ripple case has to understand federal criminal law, trademarks, civil rights law, everything, and also securities law. And that is a hard thing to do. So as promised, I suckered my dad, Jerry Hogan, into coming over last weekend and telling us a quick story about when he was a judge, and I think this story kind of sums up how it can be to be a judge.
In the early 90s, I was asked to temporarily forego my private practice to act as a judge on a case on which all the other judges were disqualified. The case was an extremely complicated real property matter worth about $50 million. There were 8 or 9 attorneys on each side of the matter that involved claims of competing surveys, competing easements, and claims of inheritance. It was a mess. The case had been floundering around in the court for some time, and its file was very thick. I read everything in the file and concluded that I didn't understand how all the issues interrelated with each other. I wasn't sure what would be a just outcome. So I ordered all of the attorneys to court for a status conference. I told them that they did not want me to decide this matter, that no one would be happy if I was forced to decide the matter. And then I chose one attorney from each side, and I told them directly to draft a settlement proposal and then convince the others on their side to join in. I explained that if they couldn't settle the matter, I would, and they would not like it. Shortly after that, and sure enough, they submitted a settlement proposal and I approved it. Today, a 5-star hotel sits on that property. Sometimes when a legal matter is very convoluted and no one can truly understand all the issues and figure out a just settlement, a good judge will lean on the parties to make a settlement happen, and that's in everyone's best interest.
My dad.
There it is. And again, big thank you to Jeremy Hogan and his dad for sharing those stories and perspectives on the situation. And I have to say, I think this is exactly where this case is. I think if we learn nothing else from the pretrial that we heard just the other day, the case is an absolute mess. There's so much wrong with it. We don't even have time. It had to be a separate video to list it all. So I think this is going to be exactly what happens. And you're going to see the judge push back on the plaintiff and the defendant in the case to take the time, bring a lawyer from each side, and get this thing figured out. Because if she's got to do it, I don't think you're going to like the outcome at all. And knowing that we are only 3 days away now from the confirmation hearing of Gary Gensler, one has to wonder what his stance and his impact will be on getting that settlement to this case. That's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below. Make sure you share with somebody you know and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. By the way, I Trust Capital, Crypto Gold IRA. It's the best gold IRA in the business, bar none. Make sure you check out all the links in the description box. They are vetted, trusted links. I'll catch all of you on the next one.